Hello and welcome to another Reef Take update. If you've been around for a while, this is the third video I have posted on this tank. So this is the tank with the white lights, and let's transition to the blues just so you get an idea of what's changed over the past few months. A couple of new corals that we'll talk about, and I'll point out each individual piece as we go. Also, you might notice the rock work, the hardscape, the aquascape, if you will, has been adjusted a little bit. I kind of gave it a little more elevation. The rock is maturing, beneficial bacteria is growing, so they're changing from white rock to a brown rock. Then there's some purples and greens in there with the coralline algae. Right there is the bubble tip anemone that, if you're familiar with the previous video, it might look a little small, but there's a reason for that. And we'll get to that later. It actually split, but I'll show you what I did with the other piece later. So, real quick, let's turn those blue lights back on because it is a lot easier to identify these corals when you can see their colors. So let's do that right now. Shout out to the Fish Room in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they have a Wilmington shop as well. I got a few of these new coral frags from them, and they're awesome. This is a standard green bird's nest acropora. Over here we've got a green dragon eye zoanthid. Up on the wall is a green star polyp, or a GSP. Down here is one of my originals, the gobstopper palizoa. Over here we have a green bay packer zoanthid. And down here we have the eagle eye zoanthids. I really like that one. Over here we have people eater palithoas, purple, blue, and green. So 3 different strains on one frag. And that clownfish just wants to photobomb this whole scene. Down here we have a blastomusa, just a single head down at the bottom. They don't need a lot of light, but I have heard they grow quickly, so I'm going to keep my eye on that one. Over here are my 2 favorite Euphyllia corals, Torch on the bottom left, and Indo purple, and a hammer on the top right, which is actively splitting in 2 different directions. So 2 heads are going to branch off, kind of like a branch of a tree, and there will be 2 heads on that green hammer. That there is a Gonopora, but not doing too well. I got to keep my eye on. Here you can see one of the clownfish laying down in the bubble tip anemone. For your information, just to let you know, the back of that glass there, you see those splotches? That's actually not dirty glass. That is beneficial bacteria growing on the back of the tank, coralline algae and whatnot, which is actually necessary for the natural filtration of the tank. The beneficial bacteria in the tank actually keeps the chemistry in the water clean and healthy for the fish and the corals. Those 2 bush-looking plants there, those are shaving brush macroalgae, really good for absorbing nitrates and whatnot. And in the top right, I forgot to point this out, that is a toadstool leather coral, growing very quickly. It's actually doubled in size since I got it, and I only got it a few weeks ago. So that thing is extremely happy and healthy. Okay, I alluded to this earlier, but this rose bubble tip anemone actually split recently. So what it did is it took itself, put it up against a sharp part of a rock, and literally tore itself into 2, producing 2 bubble tip anemones. Now I thought to myself, now that I've got 2 of these, what do I do with them? Do I just keep them in one tank and let them do their thing? I said, nah, I gotta do something a little more creative than that. So, this is what I did. What you see here is the other half of that bubble tip anemone in a completely different tank, where I have relocated the Kenya tree soft coral and the small propagation of my other Kenya tree, which did not survive, by the way. So this is a 14.5-ish gallon cube, rimless, small tank with some really basic equipment, not going overboard here, and a couple clownfish to keep the bio load active. Right there is a Kenya tree propagation from, like I said, a tree that died but dropped off a branch before it died, and that's growing from it. Over here is my Kenya tree that was a frag in the other tank the last time we saw it. It has grown exponentially, probably 3 times the size as it was when I first dropped it in the tank. Top left, you can see that pincushion urchin doing its thing, climbing the glass. And down at the bottom, you can't see it right now because it's closed. That is a tube anemone. Not really an anemone, it's actually a worm, but it's called a tube anemone. I will show you what that looks like when it opens up under the blue lights. It's super cool, super vibrant. I really like it. But yeah, this is the second tank setup, smaller tank. Oh, that is a little piece of bird's nest right there. When I was cleaning the bigger tank, I actually broke a piece off by mistake. So as an experiment, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this little piece, I'm going to glue it to the very top, and I'm going to watch it and see how quickly it grows. Because a lot of people say that bird's nest grows very quickly. So this is my experiment to see how fast it actually grows. You also may notice a lot of the rock in this tank is very clean, almost white. It's dry. It's what they call dead rock. There's no beneficial bacteria on it yet. I had to get a couple spare stones in order to make this aquascape work. I wanted to make a pyramid shape in the middle, and in order to accomplish that, I had to get some more rock. So over time, that rock will turn brown, then green, and hopefully purple with that beneficial coralline algae that keeps the tank clean via biofilter. So let's take a look at that tube anemone I was talking about. This is it after it had opened up. So the tentacles are orange, pinkish under the white light, and the mouth is actually green. But what's really cool is when the blue lights come on, this thing glows like a dark ride in Disney World. Check this out. The camera doesn't do it justice. I wish I could actually pick this up the way that I see it. But those orange tentacles are glowing, and then the mouth is also glowing green. Kind of like the bird's nest. So you can see the tip of that bird's nest glows green a little bit. There's that bubble tip anemone again. I'll go ahead and point out that the light over this tank is not technically a strong coral light. So it's another part of my experiment to see what's going to grow under this light and what's not. To see if you really do need to spend the money on those really expensive lights. Because some of these lights that they market for coral growth are hundreds of dollars. And I don't know if you actually need to spend that money. That's why this little tank is going to be an experiment to see if I can grow some coral under a regular fish tank light. Anyway, that's the update for now. This is the third update. This tank has been up and running for a little over 6 months now. So I will keep updating you guys, not just for you, but also for me, because I enjoy doing this. This is a hobby of mine, and making these videos gives me a chance to check up on the status of everything that's growing. That way I have a history. I can look back and see what it looked like months prior. Okay, everybody. If you enjoyed this, if you made it to the end of this video, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you yourself have a reef tank, comment down below. Let me know what yours is looking like, what you got in your tank. Talk some shop. Let me know what's going on. All right, everybody, stay safe. Take it easy.